All right, hey, sixth graders, we are moving on to lesson 2, and we are going to be spending some time investigating landforms on Venus. So, before we begin, I have my joke for you, and it's, what did the Martian say to the detective? Take me to your reader. All right, so we have been studying geological processes, and we wanted to know what happened and what formed the geological process on Mars. And we said that one of the things could have been flowing water, and the other could have been flowing lava. So those were our claims. Claim 1 and Claim 2, flowing water or flowing lava formed this channel here on Mars. And today we are going to spend some more time investigating landforms in order to figure out which one it is, or to find more evidence, hopefully, to figure out which one it is. So Claim 1 says that if it was formed by flowing water, that means that Mars probably once was habitable, because that means that it had liquid water needed to support life. So remember that we need water in order to support life. In order for something to be habitable, there has to be water. So if there was once water, that would mean that it could potentially have been habitable. So that's what Claim 1 really does tell us if we kind of dig deeper into Claim 1. Our Unit 2, or our Chapter 2 question is, how can we gather more evidence about whether lava or water formed this channel on Mars? And we are going to investigate it by looking at Venus. Venus is another rocky planet in our solar system, and scientists have observed interesting landforms on Venus, which allows us to look at this rocky planet and say, okay, we know we have 4 rocky planets in our solar system. We can look at Earth, we can look at Mars, and we can also look at some land formations on Venus in order to make our comparisons and come up with some more evidence and information. So Earth scientists, they read a lot, and they do a lot of investigations, and they read about investigations. So they don't just complete their own investigations, but they actually spend time reading about them in order to learn more about what other people have done and think about what they potentially could do. It's really important that scientists and students alike, that they read very carefully and critically to make sure that they understand what they're reading about and their ideas. And when I say critically, I mean thinking about what they're reading, asking questions, and not just saying, okay, I read it and now I know, but asking a question and saying, okay, so tell me more, or I don't really understand this completely. How can I learn more? How can I better understand this? So don't just take it at face value, but think critically about what you're reading. So we are going to do this by using a tool called active reading, and it's a way of reading different scientific texts or science texts that we have, and it's really similar to how scientists do their reading when they're looking for information and gathering information in investigations. Oh, I love this little rock. Okay, I just want you to stop for a minute and think, and I want you to think about if you've ever read something, or if you've ever read something and thought that you didn't realize that you didn't remember it, or didn't even remember reading it, or you didn't really try to understand it, or maybe you read it and you didn't understand what you were reading. And I just want you to think about how important it is that we don't repeat that, and that we take the time to read texts and understand it and think about it, and so that we can remember what we've read and apply it to what we're learning in class. What do you think happens when you read a text like that and you don't actually remember? You probably don't learn very much, right? And you probably can't apply it to what you're learning, and it probably makes it a little bit harder to complete your assignments if a teacher's asking you to complete an assignment with that text. So let's just think about, and we're going to look at some skills and some strategies here in the next 2 minutes to avoid this not remembering or this not trying part. So active reading, you're going to think carefully about what you read, pay attention to your understanding. You're going to annotate text. You're going to highlight challenging words, make notes, ask questions, make connections to what you already know. You're going to examine the visuals in the text so that you can gather information, and think about how pictures and words go together and how we can use that to help better our understanding and gain knowledge in our readings. And then you're going to discuss what you read with other people, because the best way to remember something is to say it out loud and to tell other people what you've learned. So the first strategy, read the title and the topic sentence. So if you read that title and you read the topic sentence, that's what's going to tell you what the article is all about, which is so important that you know what the whole article is going to be about so that you can really dig deeper and get those details in your text. The next thing is annotating your text, which means that you're going to record or write down the ideas or the things that you're thinking. So you might read something and think, oh, that reminds me of something Miss Klug said in class. You're going to write it down. Reminds me of Miss Klug. Or you might read something about a rock and lava formation. You said, oh, Miss Klug has that rock. Let me write that down. Or I saw that when I was out in the parking lot, and you're going to write that down. So you're just going to write down the things that you're thinking about that relate or connect to what you're reading. Or I have a question about this. You can write that down too, obviously. So, for example, this says here, at first everything is hidden by thick clouds, but as you get closer, you can see the rock surface below. And the annotation that goes with that is, does Venus have clouds? So the person is wondering, hey, it's talking about clouds, and I didn't think Venus had clouds because I learned about the atmosphere last week, and it didn't seem to me like Venus would have clouds. And then they said, is it similar to Earth in that way too? So thinking about how we're making those comparisons between Earth and the rocky planets, so maybe that means it's similar to Earth. Who knows? All right, the third thing we're going to do is highlight challenging words, which is really important. If there are any words that you do not know, you should highlight them so that you can come back to them, ask questions about them, look them up, so that we can really dig deeper and understand what we are reading. Our next strategy is to look at pictures. So pictures help you understand things when you don't understand what you're reading. So there's never pictures in our article that are random and not placed there intentionally to help you understand what you're reading. So it's all there to support your learning and your reading. And then discuss with your neighbors, discuss with your friends what you're learning about so that you can either ask those questions, get more information, or get definitions for your words that you're wondering about. All right, that's all we have for active reading. Remember that this poster is hanging on the wall, and it's going to be up around the classroom as you get into your active reading, and I hope you enjoy the article. Remember, today is a great day to learn.